If we can't deport someone who was knowingly a part of a gang and has no business being here and was arrested, or certainly can't even deport actual criminals from our prisons who are here illegally, then you cannot deport anybody. Let's move on to this case here with Abrego Garcia. Noted MS-13 gang member. I just want to be clear. Let's
legal documents.
In legal documents.
That name kind of sounds like something you would order at an Italian restaurant.
Really?
Abrego?
Excuse me, sir. Would you like to order the fettuccine Abrego?
No, like I ordered the Branzino. Oh, sorry, I give you a gang member. What?
Oh, no. MS-13.
Yeah, MS-13. It's order number on the menu, 13. It's entire left side of the menu.
You're not coming here anymore.
We're putting your pasta bowl on a turtle. Now.
Just merged cultures here. There we go.
I want to be really clear before we get... We'll make all the references available, as we always do, and I'm going to go through some claims here and some truths. But let me set this up for you. The only issue that is in contention whatsoever. It's not that this guy had a right to be here. Nope. It's not that this man can't be deported. It's not that this man wasn't a member of MS-13. The only point of contention is that he shouldn't have been specifically deported to El Salvador. That's the only case. That's the only argument that can be made. Do you understand that? Everything else is people deliberately muddying the waters. And by the way, the court never even said that Donald Trump has to bring Abrego Garcia back.
Not even close.
So I'll get to that. But this is where we are talking about justice versus appeasement. And in this case, we have a president who was elected by the people who can either seek to provide justice for the American people who've been harmed directly by illegal immigration or appease lower court activist judges who are looking to expand their scope and power that would be completely unprecedented. Let's get to the judge segment.
Not coming back to our country.
These lawsuits are breaking us down. If it's up to these courts, we won't have a country anymore.
I guess I'm just kind of like, okay.
Well, we'll get back to you. So
you take a salary, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you'll figure it out.
Marley was dead to begin with. Okay? Let me start off with that. Over the past 4 years, Joe Biden, or under his 4 years, 15 to 20 million illegal immigrants, at least that we know of, came into the United States. Okay? 15 to 20 million illegal immigrants. When you consider that in many states, the margin of winning versus losing as far as elections can be between 10 and 20,000, that's significant. Yeah. That's quite significant. And of course, the left used this to try and buy off a voting bloc. And this has harmed the American people irreparably. You know that they cost you anywhere from $150 to $250 billion a year.
150 to 450.
That's right. I was thinking the fraud number is 250 to 520.
Yes.
So
there's too many hundreds of billions.
150 billion to 450 billion a year in wasted taxpayer dollars.
Yes.
Well, all these references available. Now, Donald Trump trying to undo some of that. Okay. But this case of Abrego Garcia, and we covered it when it happened, but the media, I don't know why they do this. And I think it's just this really is that old adage, repeat a lie enough times until it becomes the truth. This should be one of those cut and dry, okay, this guy's gone. Afuera. That's what it should be.
Yes.
But instead, the left has decided they absolutely have to die on this hill. And it's a case study. If you were to take, Abrego Garcia's, I don't know, just expand it to like, say 15, 20 million of them. It's how you destroy a country. So let's go through some of these claims that are being made on the left that are nowhere near true. First claim, that this man, legally, Abrego Garcia, needs to be rightfully returned to America.
The Supreme Court has unanimously ruled against the Trump administration in a case regarding a Maryland man that the administration wrongfully arrested and deported to an El Salvador mega prison last month. Because, you see, back in 2019, Donald Trump was president during that time, you might imagine, he got protected immigration status, which meant he had an active order that he could not be removed or deported.
Wrong.
And yet, he was rounded up by the Trump administration anyway. And after they admitted to it in court, they refused to do anything about it.
Okay, here's the truth. Everything that young lesbian said is wrong. Now, and I mean this not in interpretation. It's factually incorrect. Do you understand that? He's not a Maryland man. There was no court order ruling stating what it is that and they certainly didn't provide him some kind of protection saying that he specifically cannot be deported. The court never said There is no court that has said Trump has to bring Abrego Garcia back.
Nope.
The next truth, as I've told you, the only point of contention is that this man, who was proven in court twice to be at least a former member of MS-13, there's never been any other point of contention outside of he shouldn't have been deported to El Salvador because it may be dangerous because of his association with the gang. So that's the only point here. Do not allow them to mislead you, to lie to you and say, this is a citizen. No. This is someone who was born in Maryland. No. This is a man who had a protective order to not be deported. Absolutely incorrect. The courts have said that he is not to be deported. That is incorrect. Okay? And by the way, I'm going to get to another truth, but if you are not yet a member, do consider signing up for Rumble Premium. It's a Mug Club. Mug Club is Rumble Premium. Rumble Premium is now Mug Club. You get us, you get Dr. Disrespect, you get Russell Brand, you get Nick DiPaolo, you get Donald Trump Jr., you get a whole extra hour of show every day. You get our Friday show, and it's the only thing that keeps the lights on. It's $99 a year, and of course, the wonderful hand-etched, co-promoted mug. We are sponsored by viewers like you. Everyone serves a master. We serve you, as opposed to 50 minutes of commercials every 3 hours or a foreign caliphate. Here's the next truth. Garcia, this man, he's already received all due process that he's entitled to as an illegal alien. He got due process when he was arrested in 2019. He appeared before an immigration judge. There were many, many opportunities to challenge the deportation and the MS-13 determination. It never happened.
Years of opportunities.
Yes. It never happened. No. MS-13, there was proof. They provided no counterproof. They didn't even refute it. It was ruled, okay, guy's probably MS-13. They're going to lie to you about that and say, poor Maryland guy who's never seen a gang. It's just not true.
Did anybody reach out to MS-13? Maybe their PR rep?
Check their roles.
See if they've got somebody who does press and go, hey, do you guys know?
He was picked up with 3 other MS-13 members. MS-13 members aren't supposed to hang out with anybody who's not a member of the gang or somebody who's not trying to be a member of the gang. He had the tattoos. He had the cash with the eyes wiped out or something like that. He had a hat on that meant he was a member in good standing. Like, there's all this evidence. He could, for years, have said, hey, by the way, there's a deportation order for me. I'd like to tell you why I shouldn't be deported, period.
Right.
He didn't do that.
He didn't do that.
He illegally stayed here, tried to marry, have kids, and get an anchor baby so he didn't get deported back. Yeah. It didn't work.
His only defense is said, well, what are you doing? You're hanging out with these guys and all their MS-13 tattoos. He said, was that a 3?
Oh, I thought it was 12.
I thought it was like an 8.
I just met these cool guys at the gas station.
That's right.
It's like a Baker dozen, right?
Yeah,
They wanted to smoke cigarettes together. I said, okay.
Yeah, that's it.
They said they work for Microsoft.
Stupid.
Yes.
Stephen Miller basically came back and said, look, if he gets brought back to the United States, guess what happens next? He gets deported back to El Salvador.
Yes.
That's where he's supposed to be.
He gets deported again and again.
Oh, man, that's going to be great for my miles.
Yes. Admirals Club, here I come, bro. I like they have that espresso machine. Yeah. Get a cappuccino cortado. It's like a cappuccino, but smaller. No.
They have assorted cheeses.
Yes.
Sometimes they have Gouda.
But I don't want anything to do with that monster.
No.
Gross.
Bad, bro.
If the left, and this is they used to talk about dreamers, and I've always said this, it's not about dreamers, it's not about kids, it's not about anchor babies. If we can't deport someone who was knowingly a part of a gang and has no business being here and was arrested, or certainly can't even deport actual criminals from our prisons who are here illegally, then you cannot deport anybody. If the left would have their way, meaning there were no checks and balances, completely unfettered, it means that people with known gang associations can come here without consequence and continue to the tune of $150 to $450 billion a year in taxpayer dollars. They can continue to rape the rights and pocketbooks of the American citizens and Uncle Sam.
Orale.
I understand when Chris Pavlov, when we were talking, he was like, the problem is a lot of people are scared to do your show. But he said, well, he's like, you can't have like a head of state and then 5 minutes later have Uncle Sam being raped by an El Salvadorian migrant in the shower. I'm like, I see your point.
That's fair. That's fair.
We're kind of an island.
I mean, it's an open shower. There's room for more.
That's true. That's true. There's plenty of room for more.
Well, this is one of those things where the left is trying to find a case to try and undermine everything that Donald Trump ran on and promised to do for the American
And this is
people.
the best they've got.
This is the best they've got as an MS-13 gang member. And by the way, good job, White House. Wait until Chris Van Hollen goes down there and then releases stuff about this guy beating his wife and her getting a protective order against him and showing all of the evidence that was really like they did this pretty well. And some of there are other politicians right now that went down there, and one of them, this lady, said, "I'm not coming back until he's free." And I was like, good.
Yeah.
Stay down there as long as you want.
Yeah. El Salvador's not nice or anything. Now they locked up all their gang members in that big prison.
Listen, nobody did any of their research. They don't understand that Pam Bondi literally can override the immigration judge's order.
Right.
It was at the discretion of the state. The next thing that they have to pivot to, this other thing, is basically this activist lower court judge trying to usurp the power of the president. That's the only thing they have.
That brings us to the next point. And again, all references are available. Here's the next truth that you guys need to know. These are lower court judges, like you said, trying to usurp not just President Trump, but constitutional authority given to the president. So let me give you an idea, okay? So since the year 2000, 67% of nationwide injunctions were against Trump.
Jeez.
Since 2000, 92% of those were issued by Democrat-appointed judges. Because every now and then you'll see on CNN, they'll go, this happened, actually, and this is someone who was appointed under the Trump administration. 92% of them from Democrat-appointed judges. And by the way, that's assuming that the remaining 8%, that there's not a rhino amongst them, right? I don't know if you know this, but a George W. Bush appointed judge, someone from that era, that's very different from someone appointed recently. You understand this, right?
They've been doing the job too long.
Right. And this is activist. These are activist judges who are putting a bunch of stipulations to basically try and create new immigration law.
Yeah.
Create new immigration law. And here's something I've always said, you don't live in a free society if you have laws. You live in a free society when laws are applied equally.
Yeah.
And by the way, we'll get to the black-white crime statistics in a little bit in Carmelo Anthony, because I've got a lot to say about that, and I'm glad that we're on Rumble and not on YouTube. If you look at Barack Obama, a lot of people don't realize this. He deported or removed about 3 million illegals. Like, it was pretty significant number. He did it pretty quietly. The amount of injunctions he faced, one. Okay? Donald Trump has removed 1.26 million or so, okay, from both terms. The amount of injunctions, 37. 37. So two times the removals with one injunction, half the number of removals, 37. 92% of which come from Democrat judges. Are you guys starting to get the picture? This is another example of them trying to make him ineligible to run for the presidency, shooting at him, or ginning up a mob so that someone shoots at him to try and kneecap him doing what he promised to do based on the will of the American people. When there are 37 injunctions against the removal, largely at this point of violent criminals and people who have violated their stays, those are 37 injunctions against you. Let me ask you this. You, in Texas, in a border town, you think that some judge in Connecticut should determine what happens in your backyard when you're looking at people crossing over and you have to have chicken wire over your windows? It's an injunction. It's 37 injunctions against you. Hey, let me ask you this simple question. How many MS-13 gang members do you want here in the United States? Give me a number. What's the appropriate number? We know one. We know we want to keep at least one.
At least one. Well, we want to bring him back.
Yes, we want to bring him back.
To be deported at a later date, I guess.
Think about this. Taxpayer dollars spent on bringing a wife-beating, violent MS-13 gang member back. He's already gone. The problem has solved itself, you silly bitches.
Back to his wife. I bet she's so lonely without his fists in her face.
Yeah.
They're just trying to keep the Trump administration from doing anything that they promised. Here's a plan. When can we get an activist judge on our side that basically does some kind of summary blanket judgment, says all of you have to go back, there's your due process, and you can fight it from there. You go back home because you're here illegally, and you make your case from there.
Yeah.
And then we can decide what happens next. By the way, The White House, the 9-0, do you know what the justices said? You have to facilitate, which means if they want to send him back, we have to. We can't stand in the way of that. We have to facilitate it. We don't have to bring him back. That's silly. They don't want to send him back.
Of course, they don't want to send him back.
Fantastic. But you know what the justices
The floors
said?
have never been so clean. You could eat off them.
Exactly. 9-0. The justices said, hey, lower court judge, when you make your decision, you need to rewrite your ruling. Remember that you're talking to the executive branch. Make sure that you remember your place is what they said 9-0 for the White House. That was a win.
Here's what they want to do.
The media couched it as a loss.
They want Donald Trump to ignore them so that the media can say this is fascism and they can stage some kind of a coup.
Yeah.
That's what they want. That's what they want.
Absolutely.
Constitutional crisis.
And Noodles, I saw you passing something. Is there something that we need to touch on?
The research did just sent this in. It's pretty interesting. If you want to set it up, Joe.
What is this? Oh, Bukele there from El Salvador. What happened?
So this is Florida Rep Maxwell Frost apparently went to go and visit and was denied visitation to Abrego. So Bukele retweeted this from 2016 from Frost.
Oh, the Representative Frost wrote, effing with my gang gonna get you spilled.
Yes.
Let me guess, Frost, probably not one of our friends?
No, not so much. He should probably stay down there, too, until Abrego comes back.
Yeah, all right.
Which is never.
Well, the conclusion here that we have is Trump had pretty much summed it up. This is his Truth Social post from yesterday. He said, how can Biden let millions of criminals into our country, totally unchecked, unvetted, with no legal authority to do so, yet I, in order to make up for this assault on our nation, and that's what it is, an assault. It's an assault. am expected to go through a lengthy legal process separately for each and every criminal alien, as usual, 2 different standards only leading to a complete and total destruction of the USA. Make America great again! Exclamation point. Fight, fight, fight. This is one, if you don't fight, you're not going to have a country to fight for anymore. Not 1 inch. Don't give 1 inch to these people. Don't appease them at all. Hey, if you like this video, you can hit the notification bell there to know when new videos come out, because I don't think subscriptions are still a thing on YouTube, but you know, you're an adult, most likely, so you can just choose one of the videos here to keep watching, and hopefully it's similar. I don't know what it is.